The Spiritual Samurai Scribe presents Mastering the Art of Self-Healing, Neurogenesis, and Rewiring the Brain. They really tried to end you. They really went out of their way to single-handedly destroy you in every way that they could possible. And one of the most disturbing realizations is when you've witnessed and you've experienced that abuse from someone that was supposed to love you. Knowledge has given me a currency that cannot be bought, because I would cling on to knowledge to heal myself, because that is what helped me. It helped distract my mind from the flashbacks throughout all these years. Of course, today I'm in a much better place mentally, but before, whenever I would feel anxiety or I would feel all this stuff, I would write, read. I had to stimulate my mind so much, to such a degree that it forces me to concentrate on something more difficult than the complex emotions that I was experiencing. And it was also a way to prevent flashbacks and intrusive thoughts from dominating my mind at the time. And I would say that I've done pretty good. Now, I want to say this. When you look back at your past abusers, you look back through a healed lens and you realize how fucked up they truly are. It doesn't matter who they were to you. It doesn't matter. None of that matters when they've done what they've done to you, because there's certain boundaries that must never be crossed. Through SA, they have attempted to annihilate your spirit in so many different ways. Your past abusers have implanted a curse mark by way of SA. That form of violation penetrates the soul far deeper than most people could ever comprehend. Only the survivors know the psychological impacts that does to a person, a child. It is so detrimental, so destructive. It's like when they do that, they activate the self-destruct mode inside of you, because ever since that happens, you've never been the same. But how do you know what it's like to be before that happened, when you never knew what normal was to begin with? Because from the earliest age, you've already gone through that type of thing. So how would you know? How would you know? Let me tell you what happens during this time. When they implant that curse inside of you, that was their way of trying to unload all of the darkness that they had inside of them and put it on you. They literally force-fed you a lot of demonic energy. And because they refused to deal with their own darkness, they put it on you. And ever since then, you've suffered from complex PTSD. You are unable to have a normal life as a result. But somehow you have to find the strength to overcome that, so that you can do what you need to do in this life. But how? It's very hard to do that when you don't know the meaning of your own life. And without a purpose or a path, there is no motivation to even continue to move on. And this is tied into lack of faith, lack of belief in the Most High. And honestly, it's very understandable to become an atheist or an agnostic when you've seen so much suffering. If you've seen and experienced suffering to a degree where you start to question whether or not there is a God, that's understandable. But one thing that you have to understand is that as long as we're on this earth, this is the battleground where souls meet. So there's a lot of darkness moving all around this world, and we're put here to recreate ourselves each and every cycle that we go through in life, every chapter, right? The only way to survive is to continue to move to the next level. It's kind of like a video game when you have to pass a certain mission. You have to basically accomplish a certain mission in order to get to the next phase, which will take you to a whole nother world or dimension. And we can say that you basically, the more levels you pass, the more you go to higher dimensions. And on a spiritual level, this translates into you increasing in your spiritual ranking, which allows you to master the art of self-healing. Sometimes a conversation like this could actually prevent a person from ending themselves, because you realize you never truly wanted to do this. No one truly wants to end their own selves. Nobody wants to do that. You were programmed to go against your own existence because the person that abused you went against your own existence, because they are against themselves. They are against God. They're against all creation of the Most High. And because of that, they're going to end up in a place where all creation is utterly destroyed. All the darkness that you have absorbed from this creature is not even your own. You've been carrying baggage from your past abusers. You've been carrying all that darkness, thinking that that is what you are. And you know the fucked up part about it is that they made you believe that that was yours to carry. They blamed everything on you. That's what the blame shifting, gaslighting, that's what that's about. Is to force you to carry all the darkness that they forced upon you. That is evil. Especially given the evil actions that they've done against you. And those who never figure out what all this really is, the fact that it is abuse, that's what causes people to want to end themselves, because they literally have believed the lies that were told to them by their past abusers. And a lot of times they don't realize that they've been programmed by these individuals to think this way, to think in a way that is destructive to themselves. That's where low self-esteem comes from. That's where negativity, that's where wanting to just slowly erode your own existence. You're unable to experience joy in your life because of that. They have utterly killed your spirit in such a way that you feel like there's no way out. You just feel so empty that everything that you used to love, you no longer enjoy. I know that feeling. I've experienced it once upon a time, a long time ago, you know. And how I got out of that, it took a long time. It's a gradual process, and honestly, it's not the easiest thing to do. So when I talk about this, I'm not talking about it as if this is just a walk in the park, especially when we're talking about SA, healing from it. It's not easy, but it is very possible. And when you cultivate enough self-love, you're going to be able to reach heights that you never imagined in your life. You're going to love deeper than you ever expected. But don't force yourself to be like everybody else. Don't force yourself to heal as quickly as others, because everybody's different. Rewiring your brain is a process that takes time, patience, resilience, and lots of strength. But these are things that you may feel like you don't have those traits at the moment, but that doesn't mean that you can't cultivate it. It doesn't mean that you cannot have those things. You absolutely can. As long as you're a human being, you can. Especially when you start to really get into spiritual growth, getting closer to God by way of a spiritual bond, not religion. These are things that are important to have. And I say that for myself because I used to be an agnostic atheist. I relied on knowledge for everything. Knowledge was my God, because That was the closest thing to God at the time, because I needed something that would distract me but still help me elevate, because I didn't want to be distracted by entertainment. I would rather be distracted by information. Or maybe distraction is not the right word. I would say I wanted to immerse myself in life-saving information, or just plain information period, that would make me sharper. And also, I was so determined to get myself out of the situation that I was in, mentally and psychologically and spiritually. I wanted it that bad that even if I was on my own, I needed to do this. I needed to get the knowledge. The knowledge was my comfort, because it would paint pictures in my mind that I actually like to see. It would force me to develop critical thinking skills, especially if I'm dealing with math and science. I'm focusing on creation. And then because I'm a writer, I'm able to use metaphors to understand the depth of this scientific knowledge. Chemistry and biology. Biology, you learn about the creation. Now, I don't understand how in the hell I didn't believe in God and I was taking biology class back in college, 2014, 2015, because in those years I was agnostic. It's just something about me putting my mind in focus towards solving problems, because I know that whatever I immerse myself, whatever content that I get into, I'm going to start dreaming about it. Then it's going to be something that will elevate my mind. It was also a form of rewiring the brain. And at the time, I didn't realize what I was really doing until I took a psychology class around those years. And that's when I learned about brain plasticity. That always stayed with me for some time, but I revisited the topic a few years ago, and that was when I realized the true power of neuroplasticity. And then recently they came up with a study about neurogenesis. And we know what genesis is. That means the beginning, the creation, the start of something new. And then neuro, we know, is neurons. It's dealing with the nervous system and the mind, right? So you put it together, and it's basically saying that there is a possibility of creating new neurons, the birth of new neurons, enhanced neural activity. So the whole idea of the older you get, the less you can learn is actually not true. It's not true. It's never too late for you to learn. It's never too late for you to heal and be able to enjoy life the way that you should. You can rewire the brain to become more resilient and to become a lot stronger than you ever were before. And when I say this, I'm not saying that, trauma is the only way to become stronger. Absolutely not. There's so many different ways to be stronger that does not include trauma. And honestly, I would not recommend trauma as being the greatest way to do this. It's just that as long as you're living in this earth, it's inevitable that you're going to experience some form of trauma, whatever that may be for you. But just being in this world, there has always been pain and trauma for the longest. If you're a human being, you're having this human experience, you're going to go through some really messed up situations that has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your worth. It's not something that you did wrong. Because a lot of times they'll try to blame you for it. They try to, again, shift blame, gaslight, make you feel like you somehow deserved it. I know one thing I could definitely say, and listen to me real clearly, is that there is nothing that a child can do to make him deserve abuse. And also, the SA abuse that they did to you was not your fault. It never was. It never will be. I don't give a fuck what your abuser told you. They lied to you. They condition you to accept blame and guilt and shame that really belongs to them. The abusers carry shame, guilt. You were never meant to carry those burdens. They forced you to carry that. And then they beat you down psychologically and even physically sometimes, in some cases. All that put together. They've caused you to suffocate. They've tried to take the breath out of you because something about your existence agitated them, because they carry a evil spirit inside of them. They are evil. They are demonic. They have a lot of, darkness festering inside them, like a cockroach infested building. They are utterly despicable, and guess what? They tried to force you. You were a clean vessel, and they put all of that in you. They unleashed all types of dark spirits on you, and you had no idea how to fight it because you were defenseless. You were innocent. You were looking up to them as someone that was supposed to love, protect, someone that you can trust, whoever this may be in your life. So it was never your fault, but they'll always try to tell you that it is because you came to them. You came to them for what? Support, love, and guidance, like a normal child would to somebody that they look up to. These people that condition you in such a way, they're messed up in the head. And when you're a child, it's very easy to believe a lie because it runs deep. Narcissistic, psychological abuse runs very deep. It really is. I don't think people understand how many layers is included in this. People don't get it. It's a very disturbing topic, man. A lot of people are suffering because of it. A lot of people are ending themselves because of so much pain that they have inside of them that they don't know how to unpack. It's just stacked. Imagine a big stack of papers on a desk, and somehow you're supposed to sort through it and figure it out with no guidance, no emotional support of any sort. Anybody would crumble in that. And you're not weak. If you've ever crumbled in these moments, you're not weak. You're not weak for feeling pain after going through all of that. Betrayal by those that were supposed to love you is one of the most hardest things to go through during your formative years. You have to practice self-compassion, because even though the world may not give you that, you may feel like the world is against you. The one person that should never be against you is you. Start with you by not self-destructing, by being self-aware that the destructive behaviors that you're engaging in, they have programmed you to self-destruct by their abuse, which caused you to have complex PTSD. That's really what it is. What does this mean for you? What it means for you is that you have to realize that you're worth the investment. Even if you feel like nobody loves you, you have to love you enough to realize that you're worth the investment. You're worth taking care of yourself. Taking small steps. Don't let no one rush you. Anger is a normal feeling to have, especially when it is righteous wrath. There's nothing wrong with having righteous wrath. Your wrath is justifiable when you've gone through SA, especially. That's not something minor at all, And I would even say psychological abuse is pretty deep as well. People downplay it, because it doesn't actually leave visible marks, but it still damages your brain, your nervous system over time. People don't understand neuroscience to the degree where they can actually see how narcissistic abuse literally breaks your brain. It nearly makes you damn near retarded. That's what it does. There's studies about it. I've read about it. There's research done on it. But guess what? The same way they try to break your brain by fucking up all your neural wiring. The same way they can do that, the same way they try to destroy your neural passageways, is the same way that you can rebuild those same routes in your brain. Think of your neural passageways as highways, roads. There is more than one way to get to a city, right? But hey, just because there was a disaster that hit this area that destroyed all the roads, that doesn't mean we can't rebuild it. And it's going to take time, but guess what? The first step is realizing that you're worth the time and effort. You're worth the investment. It starts with you. And you have to realize that God also believes that you're worth the investment. And with you and God together, that is all you need to rebuild these neural pathways and create these more advanced highways, and also creating more than one route to get to different cities. And this is all in your brain, because there's different centers, different lobes in your brain. There's different parts of it that control certain things. And I'm telling you, brain plasticity is a real thing. Brain plasticity, that's not pseudoscience. This is neuroscience. And I'm just sharing with you so far what I've learned from reading about it and stuff like that, because I want to help myself, and then I want to help you guys as well. It is a real thing, and I've actually experienced it. Because when people, like I said, I have this pleasant energy that allows me to feel at peace, and also it makes me appreciate my own existence, and people love to be around my energy. I can tell, but when you're depressed, people don't want to approach you, because you have that darkness hovering around you. And it's not because you're a bad person, it's because somebody put that darkness in you, and then now you emanate sorrow, pain, because you were a victim of abuse. And that is why you carry that. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that you're suffering at the moment. Somebody nearly killed your spirit. They attempted to, but they're not going to accomplish that, because now you know. And after listening to this video, I hope that it gives you enough energy to now step into your power and realize that you're worth the investment, and that it is a possibility to have a beautiful life after abuse. You can and you will. So I really hope that this helped anyone out there. Thank you so much for listening. Take very good care of yourself, and God bless.